discuss the strengths and limitations of Milgram's research into obedience. In this video, I'm going to show you how to tackle that 16-mark question, how to build a top-band answer, and what the examiner is really looking for. First, let's decode the question. The command word is discuss. That means you must give both strengths and limitations, and you need to explain them, not just list them. The topic is Milgram's research into obedience. Because this is an evaluation question, most of your marks are for AO3. That's evaluation and commentary. You still need a little bit of AO1 to set the scene, but don't rewrite the whole procedure. Before you start writing, quickly plan. You could structure your answer like this. Begin with a brief outline of Milgram for context, and of course these are AO1 marks. Then we go on to AO3 marks, including research support and reliability, major ethical issues, internal validity and demand characteristics, external and temporal validity, modern replications like Berger showing continued relevance. Short conclusion then, pulling it together. That gives us a nice balance of strengths and weaknesses and keeps us focused on evaluation. Let's look at how this works in a real answer. For each new slide, I suggest you pause the video to read the model answer, which I've done in a handwriting font, and then go on to see my comments. I start with a short description, mention the cover story, the increasing shocks, and the 65% obedience rate. And notice this is just one concise paragraph, just enough for a few AO1 marks. And now I move on to the strengths and weaknesses. First, a strength. I bring in Sheridan and King and Bickman by name, and I explain why they matter. They show that obedience to authority appears in other settings, not just Milgram's lab. So this isn't just there are other studies. It's study leading to finding, leading to how it supports Milgram, leading to why it's a strength. And that chain is what gets you AO3 marks. And then let's have a look at a limitation. I talk about deception, lack of informed consent, and psychological harm, and I use details, cover story, stress reactions, to keep it specific. And then I balance the point by acknowledging that Milgram did debrief and that many participants said they were glad they took part. That two-sided discussion shows that you can think critically, not just attack the study. Next, I move to internal validity. I explain the criticism. Maybe participants guessed the shocks were fake. And then I bring in Milgram's defense, emotional reactions, attempts to withdraw, and the post-experiment interviews. So again, we've got criticism leading to explanation, leading to counter-argument, and then a link back to whether we can trust the findings. And that's classic AO3. It's exactly what the examiners want. Now I look at generalization, and I point out that the sample was all male from one area in the 1960s, and I explained that this may limit how far we can generalize to women, other cultures, or modern societies. But I don't stop there. I bring in Berger in 2009 as a modern partial replication, and that shows temporal validity being tested and largely supported. Again, I'm not just describing Berger, I'm using him to evaluate Milgram. Finally, I finish with a short conclusion. This draws the different points together and gives a balanced final judgment. A conclusion isn't always essential for every 16-marker, but a brief one like this can help push you into the top band if the rest of the answer is really solid. So, why would this answer reach the top band? Well, it answers the question directly. Strengths and limitations are both covered. Plus, it uses specialist terminology, reliability, internal validity, external validity, ethical issues, temporal validity, and so on. and it includes named, supporting, and criticizing studies and explains their relevance. It gives balanced evaluation, often a criticism plus a counterpoint, and it's clearly structured and easy for the examiner to follow. If you can follow this pattern in the exam, then you're giving the examiner everything they need to award you 13 to 16 marks. Thank you for watching.